Well, hello. Welcome back, guys, to my channel. And there is a warning. This video and its content are only for educational purpose. I do not support any unethical or illegal act. So, I'm covering a series of Web Security Academy from Postfigure, and from yesterday, lab01 from the access control module. I got few queries. So, uh, this video is dedicated for question and answers that we get from the last lab1. So as you can see, the first question I got, what is robots.txt? So before jump into robots.txt, I just wanna go the fundamentals. So we must need to know what is web bots. So in common sense, we know that bot or robot is something that automates our task once or repeatedly. Similarly, in web world, we have internet bots and also known as web bots. So a web bot is used by website to communicate web robots or crawlers and tell them which web page they can access or they cannot access. Okay, so this is a functionality of internet bots or web robots. There are two standards actually. On that basis, these web bots work. The first standard is robots exclusion standard, and the second standard is robot inclusion standard. And these standards are a set of rules that they need to follow when they are working. So the protocol is robots exclusion protocol and robot inclusion protocol. Now we come to the robots.txt. What is that? So a robot.txt file basically works on a standard robots exclusion standard and based on the protocol robot exclusion protocol. One more thing is there, same like robot.txt, there is one more file which helps bots to communicate with the web servers or web applications. So the other protocol is used for robot.txt is the Sitemaps Protocol, and this can be considered a robot inclusion protocol. So there is a difference between robots.txt and sitemap.xml in term of standard. And one more thing I want to mention, in robot.txt we can mention all the paths, and whatever path we want to mention we can mention, but we have two parameters, allow and disallow. So the parameters which we want the search engines or the web bots of the search engine need to access, we make it allow. And the another parameter is disallow. So if I want the search engines or crawlers don't need to access my special URLs or special path which we don't want to give access to anyone. So with that we can use disallow parameter. But in sitemaps what happened, because this is the robots inclusion standard, so in sitemap whatever URL we put in that sitemap entry, all those URLs is gonna talk or communicate with the web crawlers. Okay, so means a bot can crawl all the URLs in the sitemap.xml. So this is what uh, the purpose of the robot.txt and sitemaps.xml. Another thing is what is GoBuster and give its brief. So GoBuster is actually used for the enumeration and directory fuzzing. So whenever you are going for the penetration testing and auditing any web application, or even you are an ethical hacker and you are going to perform penetration testing or white box testing or black box testing, so it depends which kind of testing you are going to do. So if you are going to do white box testing, so the organization already give you some credentials and some access to their resources and also some information. But In black box testing, the organization will not give you anything and you have to find out everything from yours. So in that case, there are some confirm steps which a hacker always follow. First and foremost, that is footprinting, then scanning, and then enumeration. So in footprinting, all this process followed by the hacker to just collect the information, okay, for the destination, for the organization. So in footprinting, a lot of process are there from which you can collect the information about the organization. Footprinting through search engines, footprinting through web services, footprinting through social networking sites, email footprinting, who is footprinting, DNS footprinting, and network footprinting, and many more. So from search engine, you will just search about the organization and you can see what publicly known information is there and you can collect, and any interesting information for you, you note it down. Okay. Another thing, every organization have a website and in that website some information is there, and domain name is there and some information about their email domain and subdomains, username, user email IDs, and then you can dedicatedly do email footprinting. Who is footprinting? You need to collect the information about the domain, on which IP addresses the website is hosted, and that hosting is shared hosting or dedicated hosting. Okay, so these kind of steps you follow first. Then you go for the scanning. In scanning, you find out what network range are there, what IPs are there, how many machines are there, okay, which operating system, on which operating system they are working. So these all the things come in the scanning. Services, you can scan the services, the port number, open port number, okay, and you can scan all these things from different methodologies that I will cover later on in other videos. And after that, the step came for the enumeration. So the first thing you need to follow footprinting, then scanning, and then enumeration. Okay, so what I did yesterday was enumeration, and what enumeration is that? Directory or path enumeration, and this I did with the help of GoBuster tool. So it is a dedicated tool for the directory fuzzing or directory enumeration. So if we go again into the lab, and I will show you what I did. So for GoBuster, uh, I'm using, by the way, Kali Linux, and you can see. Okay, so what you can do with the GoBuster, you can you can go with the directory or file enumeration, okay, DNS enumeration, fuzzing mode, okay, AWS bucket enumeration, and all these things. The another thing, the flags you can use with that. Suppose that you are making directory enumeration but you don't want to see the progress, so you can use -z. Okay, threads means by default GoBuster simultaneously request 10 threads, but if you want, you have good processor and you don't want to wait for a long time, you can go with that -t and make whatever thread you want, and V for verbose and my -w for word list. Fine, so let's go and do this. GoBuster, and I want directory fuzzing -w for word list. So word list I'm going to use user share word list dub, and inside dub I'm going to use common.txt. And for URL, for which URL you want to make directory fuzzing, So this is my URL for which I want to make fuzzing or directory enumeration. So paste this, and by default 10 thread, so I want to use 20 threads. Fine. Before going into that, I just want to show you something else. What is that? And what is that directory or file? What is in that? So it is basically a very small word list. In that, commonly used path or parameters are there. So this is the directory. These all the directories path which you can fuzz. Okay, if any of these present with that URL in this application, so it will show you basically what it does. um, Maybe you know about the Python, and when you make request.get for any URL, and in response you get 200 response or 300 response, right? So it choose one by one every directory name from here and put after this. Okay, and see what response coming from the web application. If the response is 200, means this is present. If the response is 302, redirection, means the directory is present. So all the directories present, it listed here. But the directory from which it gets 400 response, so it will leave that part, right? So just make it. And by the way, you can especially suppose that I don't want to fuzz the whole directories and all. I just want to fuzz the files. So there is a parameter. There is a parameter. You can use that parameter, and you can put the file extension. What kind of file you want to fuzz or enumerate, like .txt. Okay, so it will just see that. One more thing I want to clear here. Same like GoBuster, there is one more tool, Dub. Okay, and here you just need to put nothing else. Just you need to put this. Copy, paste, go. So it is also scanning the same way GoBuster do. And I want to show you something else. Another thing, just make it small. Okay, so there is one more tool. Uh, there's search, I think. Just wait a moment. Dirbuster. Same like GoBuster, there is Dirbuster tool, and this is GUI based. GoBuster is command line, and this one is GUI based. So here you just need to put the target and what file extension you want. Suppose that I want only text files, so it will give me the text files. Okay, brute for directory, brute for files. No, I just want files. Be recursive, path this. Okay, let's go on. You must apply a file or directory listed. Sorry, you must do this. 10 threads. If you want to go faster, you can do this. Okay, so here you need to give the word list. Sorry, because without word list, it will not gonna work. So root user share and word list, which word list you want to use. So seclist is also there. A huge amount of directories and word list are there. You can do fuzzing for that. If you want to make DNS fuzzing, or you want to search the subdomains, you can go there, but I don't want to jump into this right now. So same I want to use common.txt and start. So let's see what we are going to have. Here GoBuster already give us robots.txt, and we can go robots.txt, right? So you can see there is a user agent and disallow entry. So one more thing I want to clear, that robot.txt is not a kind of vulnerability here. Okay, robot.txt is not kind of vulnerability here. The vulnerability is in the code in the backend, because the administrator panel, it is using without authentication. So maybe after you make a normal user authentication and you want to try to access this administrator panel, maybe you won't be able to access that. But in my mind, the vulnerability is uh, when you logged in and try to access, at that time it will check from the database whether that user and its role is assigned to access this page or not. Okay, but from directly to the website, it is not filtered, right? So if you directly go this without, sometimes that make me frustrated. Why? Now it's okay. Here, and we deleted this one to complete the lab. So I hope you are clear on the questions. Anything to know? No result. Okay, let's check this one. So you can see analytics here in the GoBuster, and in the DirBuster also we got analytics. So it will take time, but it will also search the same thing. Fine. Thank you very much. I hope you got the answers of your question, and if you have more queries, please ask. Feel free to ask, and I will share what I have for you. Thank you very much.